Get ready for some hilarious and dramatic moments as we go through some of the craziest court invaders in the history of tennis. Without further ado, let's get into it. This court was the last place that this little bird will ever invade. In this all-French doubles match at the Australian Open, a bird flew onto the court during a point and got hit by a traveling tennis ball. It fell to the ground completely motionless. Fabrice Santoro got to his knees and made the sign of the cross, so the bird got a better send-off than most. What an unbelievable thing to happen on the tennis court. It's like something out of a cartoon. There must have been something in the air in Melbourne that day, in both Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic's matches. Flock of seagulls flew above the court. In Djokovic's, they circle around for a while, spending a lot of time doing a show for the spectators. It's interesting that the birds weren't put off by the bright lights and noise of the crowd. How many do you think Novak could knock out of the sky with 10 tennis balls? In this clip, Jeremy Chardet is forced to delay the game to try and get rid of a moth that was bothering him. It flies around a bit happily, much to the joy of the crowd, until it flies over to a ball boy, who promptly steps on it. Chardet seems genuinely upset for a second until both him and Nadal see the funny side, sharing a laugh with the crowd and the ball boy. Poor old moth. This was probably the first tennis match it had ever seen. It was also its last, that's for sure. As Michael Russell geared up for his second serve in this Queen's match versus Leighton Hewitt, a couple of pigeons arrive on court. The crowd starts laughing as Russell chases them away, but the pigeons are not keen on leaving, dodging and weaving to stay on court. Finally, a ball girl manages to usher them off court, and the match can once again get underway. I think a dog would have been very effective in this situation, but afterwards, you need something to get rid of the dog. We've seen birds and moths. Eventually, its bushy tail disappears behind the scoreboard, and the match could resume. It's lucky neither player. For our first human court invader, we have Kim Clijsters to thank. In an exhibition match, Clijsters used the umpire's mic to announce that the first man to run onto the court and kiss Janina Wickmeyer could win a car. Several men rushed on court and accosted Wickmeyer. Security finally got a hold of them and escorted them off, but not before they kissed her. I'm not sure this really was the best idea for a prank. Something could have gone horribly wrong. We've seen animal invaders and human invaders, but now it's time for a water invasion. A stray hose pipe begins leaking onto the court this Rome match between Gasquet and Federer. With water flooding the clay, staff members walked on court with spades and a wheelbarrow of clay and fixed the problem soon after. Every clay tournament organizer knows the golden rule: always have a wheelbarrow of clay nearby. In an exhibition match near Grigor Dimitrov and Roger Federer, Dimitrov decided to invite a young fan onto the court to face Roger instead. The boy hits a couple of very good shots, leading Federer to the net. He then delivers a killer blow, a lob that Federer couldn't have gotten back if he wanted to, much to his surprise. This is the video of the young fan will be showing his grandchildren, no doubt. This has to be one of the wildest court invaders in the history of sport. In a match between Tommy Haas and Jiří Veselý, an iguana suddenly popped its head above the scoreboard. While Veselý complained about not being able to focus, Haas jogged over to take a selfie with the animal. To the excitement of the crowd, it ran onto the court before being accompanied off. I know he didn't pay his ticket, but just let the poor iguana watch. Court invaders have no place in tennis. As Federer was walking off court after a victory at Roland Garros, a young fan sprints onto the court to try to get a selfie with the Swiss legend. Federer is cool about it, and security escorts him off, but Roger was not happy about it in an interview afterwards. Fair enough, it doesn't seem very appropriate to say the least. What makes this quite funny is the fact that the fan doesn't even manage to actually get the selfie, it seems. Unlucky. Unsurprisingly, this isn't the first time Federer has been accosted on court. At this French Open match, a man runs to Federer and puts a flag on his head. Security takes their time to do anything but eventually chase the man, who jumps over the net before getting tackled by security. Luckily, he didn't want to harm Federer. Security would have been way too slow to do anything. Unfortunately, that was the case for our final crazy court invader, who was actually legitimately crazy and responsible for one of the darkest days in history, not just for tennis, but for the sport as a whole. Monica Seles, one of the best players in the world, having dethroned Steffi Graf by winning the French Open at only 16, the youngest ever winner. She had won a total of 8 Grand Slams only 3 years later. Then, in a match in Hamburg, a deranged fan ran onto court and stabbed her between the shoulders. Monica was about an inch away from dying. It took her 2 years to recover, and she even managed to win another Grand Slam. But the damage was done, and Seles was never the same again. The most awful moment ever on tennis court. We were robbed of one of the tennis's biggest ever champions. Well, that was our collection of crazy court invaders in the world of tennis. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know what you would like to see next in the comments below. Until next time.